Today I'm going to unbox Judean Hammer. This is Guerrilla Warfare during the Maccabean Revolt. This is a war game that kind of deals with ancient warfare, or the Romans and the Israelites in that time frame. This is from Catastrophe Games, so kind of a new game company out there. I think they have a few games out there. I think they have some solo games out there as well. This came, looks like it's packaged by Blue Panther, the way that it is set up there. Let's look at the back of the box here. It says Conflict of Wills, Judean Hammer. The designer is Robin David. Let's see, it says in 167 BC, the king of the Seleucid Empire, Antiochus IV, forced residents of Judea to convert to Hellenism. In the rural town of Modin, a Jewish priest named Matthias killed a Hellenistic Jew and a Greek officer as they tried to make a sacrifice to an idol. In doing so, Matthias, and I'm pronouncing that wrong, it's Matthias, man, boy, butchering that, sparked a revolt that spread across Judea. So, as you can see here, here's a map. It's got some cards, so I imagine this is somewhat card-driven. 2 players. It is 1.5 to 2 hours playtime, low complexity. You get 1 map sheet, 30 green cubes, 30 blue cubes, 2 dice, and 26 cards. So, looks like you got cards and cubes. This might be somewhat Euro game-ish, but it also looks like this might be area control as well. So let's take a look inside the box and see what we get here. I've always been interested in this time period, especially over the last, 6 to 7 years. I got more into ancients and games covering ancients. If you checked out my, golly, this paper is kind of weird. Really stiff paper here. If you checked out my live stream just last week, I kind of went over some of my interests and how I got into trying to cover different periods of war games, or different periods of history through war games. And ancients was something that I really had to focus on and get up to speed. And I don't have anything covering the Maccabean Revolt, but now I do. So there you have it. A typical Blue Panther type box, if you're familiar with that. Paper map, which is consistent with Blue Panther. Some companies like Hollandspiel that goes through Blue Panther, they offer cloth maps sometimes, or different types of maps, but this is the typical paper. Here's our cubes. There we go. Is this a war game? Yeah, there's some cubes. Got your dice. Oh, I like that. You got purple and green, and you got purple and green dice. Gotta love that. You got your cards, and then you got your rules, and there you have it there. So let's move this stuff over here. Let's take a look at the rules here. So you have, I always start at the back, you know me, 12 pages, but it has designer rules. Looks like there's some charts on here that might help you go through this. There's a glossary, so really only 10 pages. So 10 pages of rules. They're not densely packed. They've got color examples. So you've got 10 pages of rules, but really not that much, not that many rules. As you can see here, looks like there's some examples of play. You got some big fonts there. This looks like this is real easy to get into. This is something I might be able to get to the table relatively quick here. Yeah, and here you have a setup. So the first 2 pages, or the second and third page, is the setup of the game, which, this kind of harkens back to, Euro games, the way they set up now. They have a big setup page, then you have the rules kind of set out to explain, and with a lot of graphics, and, not a lot of dense text. But I'm still calling this a war game until I see otherwise. So the rules, 10 page, well, 12 pages, but really 10 pages of relatively easy to get into rules. At least looked like they should be easy to get into. I haven't read them yet. Let's look at the map. And the map is nice. You have your victory points chart. It's got victory points. Man, is this really a war game or a Euro game? You got your recruits. So you got OP's value. So I imagine there's going to be, operation points or something like that you get from the cards. At least it's looking that way. You've got some areas here that I imagine that's where you keep your cubes, which are your forces, I would imagine. And then you have some, like there's Jerusalem. And here's your sequence of play. And then you got a casualty chart up here and battle. So, a lot of information on the board that's helpful. Let's get into the cards here. Typical Blue Panther cards, not bad. I mean, decent cards. So you've got an action here, and you've got maybe op points. I'm not sure if you can use both, or if you have to choose like you do in a lot of card-driven games. So you got a little bit of historical picture there. You got symbols here that probably relate to the different forces. What you don't have historical text, but that's okay. I mean, this game I think is going for playability. So you've got what it does on it, very clearly laid out, and looks like there's some modifiers here as well. So maybe there's like dual use of the cards. You got the op points, you've got an event, and then you've got a modifier that does something as well here. But it doesn't have all the historical text that you would normally see from some card-driven games like Twilight or coin-type games. But I mean, again, goes for playability, and it's easy to read. I mean, I don't have the best eyesight anymore, and I can see that relatively well. So, I mean, clean design from the cards aspect. I don't know if we need to go in and review the cubes. If you want me to review each cube, I can do that. But that is what you get in a box of Judean Hammer. It's like Conflict of Wills Judean Hammer. I wonder if this is going to be a series of games. Don't know. Again, I don't know a whole lot about this. I just, again, was looking at the title and read a little bit about it, that it was covering the Maccabean Revolt. And as I said, I have this huge battle list that I'm keeping track of what war games I have that cover major battles or major wars, and I really didn't have anything on this or this period, and thought, well, let's fill that gap. So that's why I got this here. So that's what you get in a box of Judean Hammer. If you're used to Hollandspiel or White Dog Games, then you're going to be used to this kind of production value from Catastrophe Games. It looks like they're using Blue Panther. The graphics are nice and clean. The cards are nice and clean. It has cubes and not counters, so be that as it may, on how what you think about that. Again, this looks like it has some more area control and maybe leaning a little bit towards the Euro side of some things, as opposed to just your old Grognard type war game with hex and counter. But I mean, there's still, we're dealing with battles, we're dealing with units, we're dealing with a revolt period. I think this is going to be interesting, so I'm looking forward to getting into it. So that's what you get in a box of Judean Hammer. What's your thoughts on it? If you guys played this, do you know anything about this? Do you know anything about Catastrophe Games? I think they have a solitaire game about one of the ships that was on the picket line during Okinawa. I think so. That's out there. I'm just not as familiar with this game company. It's relatively new and relatively small right at this point. But anyway, that's what you get. Love to see your thoughts and comments on it. But most importantly, hey, thanks for spending some time with me. Thanks for watching.